How's it going, everyone? Hey, I want to answer a couple of questions. This is Dr. Todd from Moot now, and this is a common question that we've been getting recent and common is that if I'm a solo practitioner and I'm just doing this on my own, or I only have like one staff person, how do I put functional rehab in my clinic? Is it possible? What do you suggest? So while I'm letting a couple people jump on here live, let me just share this so that some other people get on here and they get notifications and watch this. You might be listening to this on a podcast in the future, and it might not make a whole lot of sense as far as what I'm talking about watching, but I am going to draw some stuff out here. And give me just 1 second. Copy this. Hold on. And all right. Okay, cool. Actually, one more group. One more group. We have a couple different groups, and I want to make sure that they are in the loop on this. So I think this is going to be important for all. Because we have some members of our program that are solo practitioners right now. That's where this actually came up on a recent training that we're doing with groups of clinics, taking them through implementing functional rehab in their clinic. And this is a question. We have a doctor that recently, she sold her practice. She's starting a new clinic and she's doing this solo. And she's saying, how do I do this solo when this is obviously a program or a system that we teach with functional rehab where you have staff? So let's just talk through this and then I'll draw through this a little bit. So first off, if you're a solo practitioner, how many patients can you see in a day? How much time are you spending per visit? What are you doing exactly? Like I just chatted with a doctor earlier this morning, and he was talking about he's starting to hit his limits because he's realizing he can work with a patient, he can adjust them, and then he can go back to his exercise area and he can go through 15 minutes or so of in-person exercise, and then the person's gone and he feels like he's not able to do a whole lot for the person. He knows there's more care to deliver. And from a billing standpoint too, he's billing 1 unit of exercise, which technically from a billing standpoint, just on a side note, this is pretty much universal across the board, but you can check in your state. I'll throw that disclaimer on there. A unit of exercise is 8 minutes, qualifies a unit. So 8 to 15 minutes is 1 unit of exercise. Two units of exercise is now 23 to 30 minutes. Okay, so you take the first 8 minutes of work that you do, that now gets you into 1 unit. You add 15 minutes to the 8, that goes to 23 minutes. So that's now counts as two units. These are things that need to be well understood that I'm sure a lot of you chiropractors that are watching this probably understand this if you're doing any sort of rehab codes in your clinic. But anyway, what happens is you reach a point of just, there's only so many hours in the day. And if it's only one of you, there's only so much care that you can render. And that's when it either makes sense to just keep doing what you're doing forever or start to scale up. And so then you justify hiring some staff. And here's how I would recommend doing this. So let's just show like a little drawing here. I have this, it's called a Remarkable. Guy that we just started working with showed us this notepad that you can draw on. It's pretty awesome. And so I just ordered one. I'm not really making this video to promote the Remarkable. It's actually a Remarkable 2, but I'm using it for notes because I write all these little notes on stickies and stuff, and I like to be able to draw stuff out. So I figured I'd use this on this video today. So if you're one doctor in a solo setup, all right, how many people can you see in a day? I don't know, maybe we'll say if you're going to see like 2 per hour, I'm drawing 16 dots. So 16 visits per day, you're doing 30-minute appointments. What, you checking people in, checking them out on your own, answering the phone, having it go to voicemail, using a text message system, having patients auto pay. I mean, there's a lot you can do to automate this process for sure, but is that the most efficient and does it make sense? And should that really keep you from hiring staff? Okay, so this is not something I would recommend doing if you're going to do really any sort of rehab in your clinic. Okay, because in this scenario, you're doing 2 units of exercise, And let's just say you're adjusting everyone too. Okay. And just from the dollars and cents of it, let's say, and mind you, we work with a lot of self-pay clinics, like cash clinics that are not going through health insurance at all. A good portion of our own clinic is self-pay, not going through health insurance. But just for the sake of this projection demonstration, let's just use like health insurance norms out there. Let's just say on average you're getting, I'll use a low average, let's say $25 a unit for exercise. So you're getting $50 here, and then this is reimbursed. Let's say the adjustment, I'm going to go low here, is $30. So it's $80 per visit, and you're doing 16 of these. So what is that? That's 848, right? So 848. Okay, so math right? I think so. So $848. Should have a calculator out for this one. I'll pull this out because my numbers are going to get a little more complex here in a second, and I'll embarrass myself if I try to add in my head. Let me just check my work real quick. So 80 times 16 is, wait, I'm way off here. $80 per visit times 16 visits. Yeah, $12.80. I don't even know what I'm talking about. All right. $4.80. Sorry, $4.80. That makes sense. $12.80. Okay. Anyway, that's the nice thing about doing this live. We'll stay honest. So $1,280 in this scenario up here in a day, and you're doing everything solo. Okay. Cool. So you don't have a whole lot of overhead except for your rent in your building. Now, let's say that you want to deliver a higher level of service. You're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Well, there's automated steps and things you can do to make a better experience for your patients. You can have a online membership site that they have access to at home. You can have various handouts, or like how we do it is our patients get a home journal that they bring with them in the office every single visit. They use this as they go through care. And that's where our staff can write in that journal, the doctor can write in the journal, and it helps bring the patient back to a central source of information. And then if they want to dive deeper, we can highlight things that they can look at online inside of our online membership program, which is called the 12-week transformation, which is something that all of our patients enroll in when they go through a care plan. And this is something that we do for our doctors inside of Move Now University as well. So let's say now you have here, plus, let's say, a fitness guy. We'll give him like a headband, okay, like the Karate Kid. All right. It's hard to draw on this little stick figure thing, but let's say now you have a staff person. So now what's going to change with this? Well, first off, the fear is, oh my gosh, I just hired a staff person. I don't have all these protocols in place. What do I do? Well, you take this person and you plug them into training. And what kind of training do we use? Well, our portal, you can see in the background over here, this is Move Now University back over here on the screen. This is the portal where we train chiropractors and their staff how to go through everything from A to Z. And this is what we plug our new hires into. We don't have new hires very often because our staff usually sticks with us. And right now we have a very solid team, so we haven't hired someone new in quite a while. But our last new hire was Audrey and Sierra. And both of them sat down, went through Move Now University, Audrey more so because she's in our exercise department. And she went through this and she took notes inside of the Success Launch Manual. So she went through this workbook and basically step by step filled stuff out, answered questions, made sure she understood the content. We gave her assignments, and then she did some in-person stuff because we have a fully operating exercise department, so she could just go in and shadow and learn the ropes in person while she was going through this study process concurrently. Okay. So anyway, so the first thing you do is you take this person, you plug them in, and you put them into this training. And ideally, the doctor learns some of the systems first, learns some of the ropes first solo, so they have a foundation that they can now teach this person, and this person can then mirror what's going on, follow along with this doctor so they can see how they're doing this stuff in their exercise department. And then the goal is then once this person is more and more trained, that this doctor is going to start to transition to seeing more patients per day, because now they can be adjusting and consulting with more patients per day, seeing more new patients per day, let's just say that instead of, I'm not gonna draw all these dots again, let's just say instead of these 16 visits per day, let's say now this doctor is seeing double. They're seeing 32 visits per day. Okay, so they're gonna be adjusting 32 using super low numbers of just like if it was $30 reimbursement per adjustment. All right. And let's say over in this scenario over here, this solo person could only see, I don't know, 1 new patient a day. So let's say 5 per week. Let's just say you have like a waiting list of new patients to come in. So this would be like 5 new patients. And let's say also a low number, let's say a new patient is a $100 charge. Okay. So that's another $500. And then you have $1,780 on this upper scenario. Over here, I would say you could scale this up quite easily if you had someone else helping. You could streamline your new patient process like we do, or we have staff helping us with it. And in this case, I would schedule special new patient times. The staff person would be like a new patient coordinator. They would help you go through, process new patients more efficiently so that you spend less time one-on-one processing a new patient, and you can spend more time taking care of patients, adjusting, putting together case management, the stuff that you enjoy doing, right? So now you have, let's say, 10 new patients per week. Again, just for demonstration purposes here, I know a lot of people say, well, I'd kill to get 10 new patients per week. And that's a whole other conversation because that has to do with marketing and exposure and things to ramp that up in your clinic. But let's say same thing, that it's $100 per new patient. So that's now, so we'll say $100 per new patient. Okay, so this is $1,000. And then I'm not going to embarrass myself like last time and try to do math in my head and then get it horribly wrong. So we're going to say 32 visits times $30 adjustment. So that's 960. Okay. And then we didn't even talk about the rehab part yet. So now this person, let's say this person now can take these 32 visits in a day, and they can go ahead and let's say that all of them are going to do, well, actually, let's just say it pretty realistic to how our practice works. The majority of our patients are doing probably 3 units of exercise because they're guided through this. And then again, how you have to look at this is the schedule and what kind of code are you billing. And because at this point, if there's only 2 of you in the practice, there's one-on-one codes and there's group codes. And so you have to make sure that you're doing this compliant and legit, and above all else, that's what we teach in our program, is how to do this compliant and legit. Shout out to Dr. Perry Barnhill from Fearless Chiropractor. He is our compliance guy that oversees and has helped and make sure that we always do everything by the book. But let's just say that the doctor and the therapist are going to be helping with the rehab portion. So meaning the doctor's going to adjust and then jump out, help with a little bit of the exercise thing. The exercise personnel is out there the entire time helping with exercise. So let's just say on average now, let's say half of these patients, so 16 of them, are doing 3 units of exercise. Like they're staying in the clinic a little bit longer. All right. And let's say the other 16 are doing 2 units. And we set up above that it was what, 30, no, sorry, it was $25 per unit. Forget my own little unit. These 2 units. Okay, so we have times $75, so 16 times 75. And then we're going to say 16 times 50. And again, I got my calculator because I'm not going to make that mistake that I made at the beginning. So you have 1,200. And then 16 times 50 is 800. And so nice clean numbers, $2,000, okay, in rehab. So let's say that, and again, this over here is for if we're seeing 2 new patients per day, because we're going to do just daily projections here, right? So we're going $200 for revenue coming in from 2 new patients. So now we have $2,000 for rehab plus $200 for 2 new patients. plus $960 in adjusting, and you're at $31.60 per day. Okay. This is a reality of how you can map this out when you have solid systems to navigate this whole process. First and foremost, you're delivering this higher level of care for your patients. So patients are getting better results, they're better cared for, they're excited about care, they're talking about it, they're referring to friends, they're saying, oh, this is so great. You're doing chiropractic and functional rehab, so you're addressing the segment and movement, and then posture, of course, which we also talk about how to do that and how to at least be looking at and addressing posture in some way, shape, or form, for sure. So you have segment, posture, movement. You have a model. You have something that differentiates you compared to every other chiropractor down the street, or physical therapists, or personal trainers, etc. It's a very unique approach that we take in this Move Now program that we teach. Okay, so $31.60 per day versus what, $17.80 per day. So significantly more. Let's see. All right. Now, this is where you have to say, does it make sense to hire a person? Okay. So again, what was it? Let me remember this. So I don't, so $17.80 versus $31.60. $17.80 versus $31.60. I'm still learning how to use this tablet. $17.80 versus $31.60. Okay. $17.80 versus $31.60. Okay, so this is a difference in $13.80. Okay, so it's an increase in $13.80 with one staff person, if this all worked out, right? And then let's say on average, you're paying a skilled person, let's say $15 per hour at this point. Depending on your state, some states require some sort of certification that person has. They have to be a certified medical assistant, a registered nursing assistant, a physical therapy assistant, etc. So there's various requirements of some states. Depending on what that is, you're going to pay more for a PTA, physical therapy assistant, than an RNA in most cases. Most RNAs work in nursing homes, and a lot of them are ready to transition and do something a little more fun, okay? And, you know, granted, not taking anything away from someone that helps people in nursing homes. Those people are saints. It is totally needed, absolutely wonderful. But a lot of our staff we've had over the years worked in nursing homes in the past, and they were looking to do something a little more active and working with people that, you know, are a little bit younger and more vibrant, and we can do more for them overall versus just kind of get them through the day. So, and then also I'll say in some states, there's no requirements as far as what your staff has to do to be able to assist you with exercise. And granted, everything I'm talking about here is for insurance billing projection, but if it's not insurance billing, it's not that much different of a dollar figure, because patients are paying a fee instead of charging it to health insurance. And so that fee will vary depending on what your fee schedule is, but it can be anywhere between, you know, $35 for the entire exercise visit. It can be $25, somewhere in that range, maybe $40. So you can take the same math and figure it out, and it still comes to pretty much the same conclusion. But let's say staff-wise, on average, you're paying $15 an hour, and this is times an 8-hour day, okay? And so 15 times 8, and that's $120. And then to be safe, we'll say times what the exact percentage it was that we figured out with Social Security, Medicare, payroll tax, all that stuff. But let's say it's like, I don't know, let's say 10%. Yeah. So let's just be, you know, what do I do? Just shoot a little higher. There we go. Back. Okay. So equals what? $132. So my question is $132 worth a 10x return of being able to generate $1,380 more in that day? I would say absolutely. If there was anything you could put your money in and 10x it, this would be it. Okay. I mean, like if there's anything else you could do that in, you would do it in a heartbeat, right? Now, of course, there's other variables with this. Is the schedule going to be packed every second of the day? Controlling the flow of the clinic, making sure patients stay with the care, making sure patients don't just say, can I just do this at home? All of those things. And all of those things is exactly why we've created all the different systems that we did inside of Move Now University, is to help with all the variables of human beings and what happens with scheduling and objections and clinical and all of that. So anyway, excuse me, it's all covered. It's all stuff that we've gone through in the past. We have gone through 20 plus reiterations of a lot of our methods to get to the point where they are polished, they are sharpened, and we are living and breathing this and doing this in a daily practice right now. So it works very well. So anyway, I just wanted to go through that little illustration there. Hopefully that helps the handful of you that asked me that direct question as far as what do I do if I'm a solo practitioner or transitioning to bringing one staff person in? How do I do this? Just to recap real quick, it's you start as a solo person, you learn as much of this as you can, you start implementing it. Of course, you're going to hit your cap of how many patient visits you can see in a day because you're doing everything by yourself. Then I would say very early on, because of it takes a few weeks to train someone to at least get them up on board where they can start really being productive and pulling their weight and helping you. So as soon as possible, I'd place an ad looking for this person. Once you've looked in your area to find out if there's any sort of, laws or anything that you need to abide by as far as like who this person is. Hold on one second. I'm going to, okay, clear my throat. Hopefully you didn't hear that. I hit mute. All right. And so once you have all your ducks in a row, and these are things that our system and me and my team can help you with personally, then you have that ad placed, which we have ads that we share with you as far as what to look for. You hire this person, bring them in, start training them. We have tons of resources to get them trained up, and then they start assisting. And now you go from the solo person doing it to having someone else do it. You start to now modify your schedule, start to schedule more, and you scale up. And then in most cases what happens, and hopefully for you it happens as well, is now you run into another problem. You're busy with just that one person. So guess what you do? You hire a second person. Now that second person comes in, or I should say third person at this point. That third person comes in, and now this whole training process is even easier because they go through everything in our Success Launch Manual. They go through our stuff online, but they can also shadow this other person that's there doing it successfully, or you and that other person. And that's how you grow a strong team if you're going from solo practitioner to multiple staff. And you figure this out as far as how many visits do you want to see in a day and in a week, and you figure out what your volume is, how many staff you want to employ, right, and to join the team, and then how much stuff you want to do on your own versus what you want to offload to others. Like in my clinic, I have someone who helps me full-time scribing as far as taking notes, because I don't want to take time to do notes later. I just don't. I've done that for several years. So it's worth it for me to pay someone to have them be like an assistant helping out. And I'll tell you, it's worth its weight in gold. And so that's something that I've done. If you're just getting started out and you're not as busy, you don't do that. I mean, I've practiced close to 18 years now, and I started getting scribes probably 4 years ago. So 14 years in practice, I did it all solo as far as all my documentation stuff. And then when I brought a scribe in, it made a world of difference. And so once they're trained, it helps tremendously. And now I can take care of more patients, or I have more time that I can do other stuff with, which in my unique situation, I spend a lot of that time talking with our doctors, talking with different members of Move Now University that need help with things, answering emails, answering Marco Polo questions, answering text messages, and collaborating with the rest of my team in Move Now as well, for upcoming events and things that we're planning. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, reach out to us. You can always reach me at Dr. Todd, so Dr. Todd at movenowu.com. You can check out our demo if you haven't already. It's demo.movenowu.com. It's a 30-minute pre-recorded demo, and it takes you through this whole portal that I have on the screen over here. So it goes through each section step by step. and I go pretty quick, but I give you like a good overview as far as what this looks like, what the training looks like, what the process is, etc. So anyway, appreciate you jumping on this, and we will talk with you soon if I can find my mouse. Okay, cool. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend or whatever day of the week it is when you're seeing this or hearing this. Over.